we all have some skill, whether it's artistic or not, but if you have that skill, that kind of gift that you were born with or you have an inclination to, it's really up to you if you want to dive into it or just let it be and then have regrets when you're 80, if you're going to have regrets. But when you're good at something, find that and then dive into it. Forget about whether you can monetize it. But if you're an artistic person or you want to tap into it with music, you just got to jump in the pool.
Jerry Tambora Garcia, welcome to Produce Your Passion.
Thank you, Sam. Thanks for the invitation. Appreciate it to be here on your show.
Well, it's a blessing to connect with you, man. We've been communicating through social media over the past several months, and I have to publicly thank you for buying the Produce Your Passion book on Amazon. Thank you so much.
You know what? I was in the store already getting fruits and vegetables, so I figured it's right there at the checkout stand, so I just grabbed it.
Well,
it was right next to the M&Ms, so your eyes go there.
I love it, man. Well, dude, you've been such a great supporter from afar, and well, not really far. We're not that far. You're in Tempe, right?
Yeah, I'm in Tempe, about 10 minutes, 12 minutes from the airport, from Sky Harbor Airport.
Okay. Yeah. I know that area. I got to shout this out before we begin. Have you ever been to June Sushi?
No.
Okay, that's my spot in Tempe. That's one of them, at least. All you can eat sushi.
You're a sushi guy. That's the difference between you and me already.
I guess this isn't going to work between us. No.
No. All of a sudden now we have race problems.
Jin Korean barbecue. I forgot the name of that big outdoor mall in Tempe. I don't know the name of it.
Are you thinking of Tempe Marketplace?
I think that's it. Where they got the movie theater, they got all these shoppings and restaurants, and there's a Jin Korean barbecue right there. I've been there.
Oh, is that the place where you cook it yourself?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. I haven't been there. I'm familiar with it. It has like a blue coloring.
Yep.
The restaurant that I go to pretty often is called Thirsty Lion, which is walking distance from that spot you're talking about.
Okay, interesting. Got to keep that on the radar then my next time down that way.
Clam chowder Fridays.
Beautiful. Well, Jerry, we'll just get right into it. For people who don't know you and what you do, could you tell us a little bit about your background and what all you do?
Yeah, so from a creative standpoint, I produce, songwrite, compose music, and I enjoy also the education process of it. I usually tend to help newer artists, artist development, some of the business details and creative details involved with someone that's starting up. But music has been a part of my life since whenever.
I love it. And I have to acknowledge this. You have a beautiful website, by the way. On your website, and I think I just saw it in the background, there's this clip of you walking and then flipping a drum over your shoulder. That is such a cool shot. I don't know the story behind that, but dude, it's a good look.
No, I appreciate it. It kind of came off like a gangster FBI kind of scene. But actually, that was shot not far from here from my buddy Jeff. He did on his cell phone, and it was some real simple video we did for a song called Chocolate Abuelita. And that drum is the Tambora drum from the Dominican Republic. And I actually brought that drum when I took a trip out there. And so it's kind of heavy, but yeah, that's the drum that I had on my shoulder there that I was flipping around.
Nice. So I was listening to some of your music too before we hopped on here, man. I love your music, love your style. When did your music journey begin? Like, when did that? What's your Produce Your Passion story with that? When did you know you wanted to be into music? And then my follow up to that is, what made you take action to explore that and get to the level where you're at now?
My dad, being a musician, and before I was born, and even as a young kid, playing percussion, Latin percussion, bass, congas, things like that. So there was obviously musical influences there growing up. In middle school, 6th grade, 5th grade, I started, with trumpet. It was one of those instruments you could pick from the sax, the clarinet, and I picked the trumpet. So I learned how to read sheet music at that point. But also my dad playing salsa music and things from 70s, 80s, ballads, Spanish music, just on the cassette, even 8-track back to a point, but just having certain cassettes that he would put, it would finish, flip it to the other side, So my dad was a big influence about music, and also learning music theory was there from like, fifth, sixth grade, and then just moving forward.
I love that. Now, are you from Tempe originally, or from Arizona originally?
I was born in Chicago. So I was in Chicago
right.
till I was till I was 7, and then I've been here since 1990. Ever since. So I'm 42. So most of my life has been here, and I kind of live in a state where a lot of the music that I produce and write, at least in part, isn't typical here in Arizona. But Arizona's been my home for the majority chunk of my life.
Fellow Illinois guy, then. I'm from the Peoria area myself.
60618. It's a zip code I remember. My parents would take me to the McDonald's across Wrigley that had a carousel, free carousel you could push a button and ride on. I don't know if you know Brown's Chicken. I remember Brown's Chicken growing up. It was just like a different version of a KFC, but I have nice memories of Chicago, cold and all that other jazz.
I was going to say, you don't miss that snow, though.
No. Yeah. The whole reason we're here is because my dad suffers from gout, which is a type of inflammation that occurs in certain limbs, and this dry weather and this 120 to 122 is perfect for helping his health condition. That's really why we're here, is because of his, which is much controlled now than back in the day, but dry heat helps with certain arthritic kind of issues, as people know.
And you're telling the truth about that 120, 122, because I've been to Phoenix when it's 120, 122. It's a different level of heat, sure.
Well, the week we came to visit to try it out, that was the day that it hit the current record here in the Valley, which is, again, 120, 122. It still stands that summer in 1990, which was our test drive in Arizona before making the official decision.
Gotcha. Well, yeah. So with music and producing your passion, we all know, as much as we love to do it, it definitely comes with obstacles, whether it's financial, mental, emotional, whatever it may be. Can you talk about any obstacles you've encountered along this music production journey? And then follow up to that, how have you overcome those obstacles?
Yeah, I think for me, financial is a factor, especially because to do things right when it comes to the business of music and even quality creative production, unless you're someone that can do everything at a top level, there's an expense to it. But also time is probably the biggest obstacle, because sometimes I do a lot of things music related that isn't about me touching a keyboard or writing or producing. I'm having to do a lot of the other logistics behind the scenes, especially when a song is completed before it's released. So I think I would put in the top 2 for me of juggling many hats and things like that. It would be time, and then the expenses there. But I don't really let the expense bother me, because it's the cost of doing business when you want to do something quality or work with quality people, when it comes to not just other musicians, but also the final result of the production. But those would be the top 2 that I would say. And then to overcome them, you have to be pretty organized. You have to wake up early. You have to do things when you're kind of not in the right mindset to do it. I think it's just about having things on the calendar as well. I use a whiteboard on my door that has, like, for example, if I look at my whiteboard, I have 5 projects, 5 different singles, and next to each single, it says what stage it's at. So one of them, it says I'm currently working on the registration distribution for it. On the other one, I'm working on some video promotional. This one's going to be released in June, or was released. This one's going to be released at the end of June. And the last one, I have to work on the mixing and mastering for it for somebody to outsource it. And I have somebody in another part of the world who's helping me with the cover art design for it. So that's just a little teaser of 5 projects that are currently released or cooking to be released. And I'm juggling a music video that I'm editing behind me. And that same music video is another song that's currently being mixed right now. I heard an update of that song while I was at the gym this morning. I have to send an email or video details going back to the engineer in Colombia, because I need to have them tweak things with the vocals, the ad libs. I don't hear them as loud as I want to. There's a solo portion that I need the brass a little higher. I'm telling you what I'm going to tell him later. I haven't had a chance to tell him these details, but my brain is juggling.
I love that you've said a couple. So no one's. I want to stick on this whiteboard thing you're talking about because no one's really dove into that quite yet. You're not only making music; you are in the music business. So there's a lot of different steps. You're talking about registering it, the distribution of it, all the other things you have to do. And I think you bring up a really good point. Is this reminder? We were talking about preparation, which I'm sure we're going to get to here in a sec. It seems like you're very organized in everything you do with everything. Is that fair to say?
I'm more organized on my time. I'm not as organized as I should be when it comes to, like, I think, paperwork, because here on my desk, I kind of have a lot of things clumped up. But when it comes to, like, putting things on my calendar and the execution of it, I do pretty well with that. So I wouldn't be the kind of person that you want me to, like, do your accounting. Like, I can say that. But for example, if you need 10 errands completed to go here, to call this person, to touch base with this other person, communication, I think that's where where I excel in. The communication and the reaching out. I will sometimes be on top of somebody, not in a negative way, but I'll be, like, quick to them about updates or needing something from them, probably quicker than they are to me. And I'm doing it sometimes for their sake. So sometimes I'm on top of them for their own sake about things they need to do because it's on my to-do list in my head. So I think, honestly, my best Google Calendar is the one in my head. It's just, I have the thoughts of what's pending. I have them floating more in front, and the not so priority, they're more in the back of my head. If that makes sense. It
makes perfect sense because I relate to that all too well. You too, or everyone else does not want me to do their accounting as well because I still do, like, pen and paper a lot of stuff and have stuff scattered, but I know what it means and I know where it's at. But I'm like you in a way where I am able to keep a lot in my head. I don't know, it just is what it is. But I think that's a creative person thing. I think maybe that's just how a lot of us operate. To the world,
I think
maybe
we're sloppy in certain aspects.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and I think that's the hard blend, is because sometimes you have people that are very creative, but then the organizational things, the registration of the song, getting their own IPI number as a songwriter, which, like, it's like a social security number for a writer, how distribution works, how copywriting works, what it means to be registered with the professional rights organization, which is kind of how you register your song as well. And it gets put in a category, it gets put in a catalog per se. So those things don't really cost money, or they cost very little. But what we were just talking about is the sloppy side of the creative person. Doesn't want to deal with it, is too lazy to do it. So they'll do creative stuff. And sometimes the creative stuff just gets half started. It just lays there. Nothing happens with it. And they stay in this cycle of not moving forward if they have that goal. If they just like doing stuff in their bedroom for their own sake, you can't hate on them for that. But it does require a business, like you're running an insurance company, like you're running your own little clinic. When it comes to music, just big correlation with that when it comes to running a front office and a back office.
You led me perfectly into what I was going to ask. Like, there, you can make music all day long in your room, like you said. And again, if that's all you want to do with it, beautiful. But if you do want to do the business end of it, you're going to have to tackle that. So for you, do you really compartmentalize all these things? Like when you're in business mode, you're in business mode. When you're in music making mode, you're in music. Can you break down that process a little bit?
Yeah. So before doing a song, I kind of want to establish with the other people involved what's going to be the split. For example, there's a split sheet that I do, let's say, with another songwriter. So then if it's going to be 50-50, that's going to be established prior to the song. Who's going to invest in what when it comes to if we have to hire a musician, the engineering for the song, if there's anything with video editing that has to be done and outsourced. Anything with cost, you want to establish that prior. Also, regarding who owns publishing, or you might say full ownership of the song, because when it comes to music, you get paid in two different ways. But which it's very deep in the woods regarding that. But all that has to be established first. When I hire, or when I do a work for hire is what it's called. Let's say on a recent song that I did, I had a vocalist that did the vocals that I wrote. She's in Colombia. I paid her for her service, but also she signed a work for hire form that says, I paid you. Yes, you're the vocalist on the song, but I don't owe you anything additional. You don't get any royalties from the song. You don't get any ownership from the song. But this little simple document confirms that I also paid you and I own the rights to what you did on the microphone. Same applies to a brass player, a bass player, any kind of instrument. You want to do a work for hire to cover your butt, because when a song becomes successful or becomes something that's used, let's say in sync, like in cinema or commercials, people then all of a sudden want a piece of the pie. So yes, the business has to be established before the song, and hopefully you work with somebody afterwards if you're collaborating with them, like if you're shoulder to shoulder with them for the sake of the project, that hopefully they have a similar business mindset so that you can maybe delegate certain things with them. But if they're just a creative person that I'm hiring or that I'm using to help me for a project, I want to do something contractually that says, I paid you for your service, or even if they did it a la carte or on the house or for the experience, even if I paid them zero, I'm going to have them still do a work for hire form so they don't come back in the future saying that I owe them something for anything the song does in the future from a financial sense.
I love that you shared that, because I think that can apply to, definitely film industry and other industries in general, just laying out those expectations from the get-go. So that way you guys don't even have to ever deal with it.
People, two siblings will stop talking to each other for $10. Families will divide themselves because they said, let you borrow $100. And they're like, no, you gave me $100. And then it becomes a Judge Judy episode. So, that's kind of what you want to avoid.
So moving to the next segment for anyone that's wanting to get into the music business and they see what you do, they're like, man, I want to do what Jerry does to the level he does it. What advice would you have for those people? So we'll start with the first group, the group of people that haven't taken action on making music, or maybe they've started a little bit, but their business isn't in line or any of that. What would be your advice to those people wanting to get into the music business?
There's different books I recommend. One that I recommend is called Everything You Need to Know About the Music Industry, and the edition gets updated yearly. That's more like a good Bible to have about everything. Now, you kind of want to know what lane you want to get into. If you want to get into just songwriting, producing, if you want to do live shows, if you want to get into sync, like I said, which is a big thing that I'm focused on, which is for licensing music for commercials, TV shows. But aside from that, you just cannot be a jerk. I think the biggest thing is you can't have too big of an ego. You can't feel like your idea is only the best idea. You really have to be good with people and know how to write a good email, how to introduce yourself to somebody. Like, I'll give you an example. Everyone should have mentors that can help you when you have a Q&A situation where you want to ask some questions. Find those mentors that fit like your focus on what they do, and be willing to ask them, what would it take to have 30 minutes of your time? Or do you offer any conversational sessions? Do you offer any educational sessions? A lot of the people that are my mentors is because I knew from the jump. I said to myself, I want to ask this person questions, and I'll send them an email and say, how much does it cost for an hour of your time? Or do you offer any educational services? You're building a relationship. You're getting a one-on-one Q&A with them. And then when they notice that you're serious, you're not trying to just take advantage of their time, you're not trying to milk their time too much, then they can be a go-to person in the future. But be willing to remember that you don't want handouts. You don't want someone that because they work for Warner Music, that all of a sudden they're going to bring you to their level. It is a long-term thing. Don't do music for a year if you want to be serious about it, so that in 1 year you're not where you think you want to be, and then you throw in the towel. So if it takes 10 years to start making money off it, you have to be okay with that. If you need something to start being successful tomorrow, then you're in the wrong mindset.
Okay, perfect. And then for the people that may be heavy into the music right now, but they're getting burnt out, or they're getting frustrated with I know it's an ever-changing industry, and I wanted to talk a little with you about the future with AI and all those things coming down the pipe. But what would you say to those who they're getting frustrated right now in the business, and whether or not they should keep going?
It's a lot about what's your reason behind it. I mean, again, if you're focused on financial success or the Instagram followers or the likes, it's going to be important that you focus on doing something you enjoy. Sadly, what sometimes happens is people will create music based on trends, based on what's out there. But I think what has helped me is that I always don't lose the foundation of the stuff that I like to do creatively. And also being around people that are like-minded, similar-minded, just good people that you can bounce off ideas to. So I would say is to just examine your circle of who's around you, that make sure that you have a similar mindset with them. Exercise, workout, get fresh air. Person's diet, I think, is essential. And then have a creative space of where you write. Some people get great ideas driving in the car, get great ideas in the shower. They like to write when they're by the beach. So maybe change your environment. Those are a few things there. But we tend to focus on comparing ourselves with others and numbers. If you have 100 loyal listeners that like what you do, that has a heavy weight to it. This whole comparison is a big disease, I think, in art, not just in music, that we want to just try to avoid, Sam.
Those are great points. I actually talk about some of that in the Produce Your Passion book about taking care of your health. And someone will like, well, what does my health have anything to do with? I think it has everything to do with it a lot of times, like how you feel and perform, the mind, body, all of it's connected. So I'm really glad that you mentioned those things. And I'm just curious too, how have you connected with all the artists you work with? Has it just been a slow buildup over time? Is it just random networking? Could you talk a little bit about that? Because music is a very collaborative space. Like music artists are always collabing from all different genres and talents. So I'm just curious from your standpoint, how you've built your network.
Yeah. So I'll give you one example of many, because I think one thing that I can bring to the table, and it took time, is having musicians in Portugal, Kazakhstan, a lot in Colombia, and throughout the States and Mexico. But like, for example, with the song that's coming out June 27th is with a gal. Her name's Aya Andasbai. I heard her song on Spotify because I was listening to my own song because I wanted to hear what song would follow my song, like in the random rotation of music. And her song came up. She is not a singer. She plays the instrument called the Tambora, which is a very national instrument of Kazakhstan. It's a string instrument. You'd have to hear it. So it's very rhythmic, quick. It's different. And then I figured out a way to find her Instagram, and I sent her a message out of the blue. Eventually, I got her WhatsApp message. And for the last year and a half, we have to communicate where I either translate my English to Russian, or she sends me her Russian and I translate it to English. That's kind of the weird thing that's been going on for a year and a half. But that's one way where we've been communicating for a year and a half now, and we communicated creatively through WhatsApp with the translation. She had not had herself registered with a rights organization yet, so I helped her how to do that with one from out there. So now when we did the song, she was registered with me with the agreement we made. But that's one example of many, Sam. It was just out of the blue, I think DM on Instagram. And then she didn't speak English, much less Spanish, which I speak both. And just ChatGPT has been helping me with the translation back and forth. And that's how it's been for a year and a half plus.
See, that's really cool. And that, as much as where technology is going can be questionable, that's the cool part about it. Even what you and I are doing right now. Like, we have never met in person before, yet here we are creating something together. That's really cool, like, especially in music, because music a lot of times goes beyond the same language. It's a completely different language. It's a universal language, and you guys are able to use these other tools like ChatGPT and social media to get past those barriers of communication to create the art. So I think that's really dope.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, that's, I don't know if you want to call it skill or ability to talk to people, is what you need in business. If you're a person that paints, if you're a person that offers any kind of service, I mean, a physician, when you visit them, they all have the degrees and the experience. But just like my mom or someone will say, this doctor is good, this doctor is not good, is because of how they are with listening and interactions, and not, again, trying to be a physician, not having an ego when they talk to you and listening to you. That's sometimes is what tells me if this is a doctor that I want to keep visiting, not even their skills or their experience. So that all applies with what I do with reaching out to people. And I'm the kind of person, when I have a circle of go-to people, I want to keep going for them for the same thing. I don't start looking for the other thing, because I want to build from that. So my Rolodex, I keep it really tight. And if I find a musician or an artist, a singer, even if they're not experienced, but they have that likability, good communication, professionalism, that's as or more important to me than their talent.
That's a huge point you just made, because I think I need to pause on that, because you are exactly correct. Especially, there's a lot of talented people out there, right? I mean, just social media, I think what it did too was just expose how much talent. Really random. There's this guy on TikTok. He's in New York. He's like a traveling music producer. Ari, I think's his name, but he makes like beats on the spot. Not only is he out of this world good, but the rappers like are just random people in New York. They're all like spectacular, and no one knows who. So there's a lot of talent there. So to your point, being on time to things, showing up, communicating, it's so important when doing these projects, no matter what industry you're in, because if you're not coming to, you could be the most talented person in the world, but if you're holding up the ship for people, they're just going to move on to somebody else, regardless if you are more talented than them or not.
That example you mentioned, I've seen him before. He does things on the fly, on the spot. Yeah. He can probably like produce on the, and he's like walking. They're like moving around in a public environment. As important is how he is with approaching people. I think he has a likability that if he didn't have that, if he was just very like dry, very reserved, he wouldn't have these random opportunities. There's an affinity that people have, I think, to him, and that just keeps building.
That's a great point. And I'm curious to get your take on the future of the music business. I guess this is popular right now, but Timberland, he's getting a lot of heat right now on the internet, at least, about having an AI artist or whatnot. Where do we can dive into that a little bit, or where do you think maybe the role AI is going to play into music, what you think about it, and just the future of the industry in general?
I'll give you an example of a good way that I recently heard about, because I was messaging somebody that she posted something and then she gave me an example. So I'll share it with you. I don't sing. If I write a song, I have a melody, have an idea, and then before I show it to a artist that I want to work with, if I can use AI to record my vocal idea with a better singing voice, so I have it as a template to share it to the actual human artist or person that I want to work with, there's a way that the AI tool can be beneficial. But right now, which is good, is if I try to do stuff on just AI and I try to put it up for distribution or even with artwork, I think last time I checked, you can't even like copyright AI stuff, nor do distributors want AI created music and sync libraries or music supervisors who are the decision makers about music for cinema and film and commercials, they don't want to touch AI at all because they just from legal aspect. So the AI can help as a tool to help create, compose, to get the ball rolling. But I think there's a lot of resistance because people know that what they write and produce comes from them. It's a part of them. And you don't want to lose the human element and the imperfections you get as a voice, as a musician. Like the trumpet doesn't always sound perfectly. It has little breathing, squeaks, crescendos, things that give it that human feel that at least I can say AI can't match that right now, but AI is trying to learn from us. So AI is absorbing what we release. And the Timbaland thing is a whole other episode in itself, but it can be used as a tool. Our cell phones now versus 5 years ago, you know how much they've changed. And for example, when cell phones were invented, how it killed those previous VHSs and camcorders and the handheld calculators, like things got squeezed out because of cell phones today. So you just kind of have to adapt, but try to, for your own sake, not lose your creative juice from being squeezed, because that's part of the thing we enjoy of writing, painting, dancing, whatever. It's something that you always want to keep there, because if you're a creative person, you have to release that. If you don't release it, it's not good for your health.
Yeah, I like how you gave that example, how you're using it as a tool. It's a tool. You can use it as, hey, I got an idea for this. AI does it, but then you are eventually bringing a real human into it. But I can see the value in that. It gave me some ideas right there alone. But yeah, it's funny because 6 months ago when I saw some of the Sora video stuff, I'm like, that's pretty cool. But then when the Google stuff came out in the last few weeks, I'm like, whoa.
I've seen some creative AI stuff, for example, with Spotify. When you were listening to a song, there's a part of Spotify where you can see like a looping video as an animation or art related to the song. There's some creative artistic stuff, visuals that you can do that might be hard to do in real life, that can be created with someone's brain involved into it. And the art can somehow be relatable to the song you're listening to. So that's from a visual aspect. I know the big controversy is AI affecting people from getting employment, especially like with actors or background actors. So the NBA and NBC, I don't know if you heard that the voice they're using of the person that does kind of like he does the commercials from like in the 90s when I watched basketball. This gentleman passed away years ago, but AI is being used in his voice for the trailer of the NBA on NBC. His family co-signed it. A lot of people are upset about it. It's up to each person and how they see that. It's nostalgic, but that's one example of, again, how it's being implemented even in like for TV and sports promotions and visual things like that.
This has been fantastic, Jerry. I do have a couple more questions on our way out of here, but before we go, where can people find you, look you up, look up your music if they want to work with you potentially, reach out to you? Where are all the appropriate places people can go?
As far as a website that kind of has everything under one roof would be tamboramusic.com, TAMBORA music.com. And then Instagram is where I'm a little bit busier regarding social networks. So just Jerry Tambora. You'll find me there, and they can send me DMs there or through the website. We have a YouTube channel that I'm working on. I want to do interviews actually like this to talk about business, to talk about struggles and experiences and how to pick up red flags. But Tambora Music has everything there with music people can hear. And that's how people can reach out to me. My email's on my Instagram. And I'm open-minded to work with people, but there has to be, again, a balance of creative and business. Or if somebody's looking to learn or wants to, ask questions, I enjoy teaching, just like I enjoy having certain mentors that I reach out to currently to help me, because you got to have that cycle of picking people's brains and then sharing it to those that see value in learning. That's a good cycle to have with your circle of go-to people for anything creative, that people that want to share and exchange education.
Perfect. I love it. And I got two questions on our way out here. My first one, what's the future for you? Like what projects do you have coming down the pipe? Do you have anything this summer that you're going to be putting out, or going into the fall? What's next for you?
So a track just came out on the 6th called Major, 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 with Nick Phelps. He's very successful in the sync world, commercials on McDonald's, I think Ford or Honda. So that song's already out on all platforms. The song that I have on the 27th is called Despierta, which means wake up in Spanish. That's the song that's with Aya, who's in Kazakhstan. A fully produced video was done, shot on portable devices, but it has video footage from here in Scottsdale, which is close to me, over in Kazakhstan. And then I had a percussionist who plays the dolak in Portugal. And those three footages are combined. That'll be released, the full video, with the video dropping. And the vocalist is in Colombia. So it's a very multicultural, that's my thing, multicultural with urban and Latin or urban hip hop blend. And then I have a salsa song that there's no release date because I'm working on the video editing myself. But that's being worked on. I have a merengue urbano called I Know You Want Me with an artist called Bonfire over in Florida. And she does sync music there as well, too. I have a song called Cultural that's out now, but I'm doing a vocal version with another artist who's just starting. Her name's Tiwa. We're doing a remix with I'm giving you too much more than you were asking for, Sam, but I'm telling you. I love it. I'm telling you what's on my brain. So I'm telling you what's on my brain now, because those are things. It's like 5 little kids. They're at different stages of age. So I have to just give them food depending where I'm at in the day.
Man, I relate to you so much because I always say that my projects are my children. Like it's like this just sounds terrible. I say it in the book. I'm like, yeah, the podcast and other things I do, though, it's like my child support each month. It's like I got to keep the boat afloat. And some months this child requires all the attention. Some months the produce your passion child. And I'm really glad you shared all those creative things in your head, because this is what produce your passion's about. Beyond, it's not even about me. It's just about all of us and what we're doing. I want people like yourself, veterans, I would say, Navy SEALs of the produce your passion world. So people see that this is what we do. Like this is what we live and breathe. And so this is a question I had for you, because I think you're a perfect person to ask. For those people out there that have the music in them, and maybe they don't care about even branding it, or they just want to start playing with some music and making some music. This may be a 2-part question. Could you talk a little bit about your process when you're coming up with a song? And then maybe a little bit of advice for somebody if they just want to start experimenting with some music, they want to maybe start singing or trying an instrument. So wherever you want to take that.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know all of music theory. You don't necessarily have to be able to read sheet music and be dominant with the piano. Just understand some basic chord progression and just what feels good to you. I have certain chords that I like. Just find what you like regarding what instruments, what flow. Is it more urban? Is it more ballady? Is it more singy-songy, up-tempo urban? And then get yourself some kind of digital audio workstation, which is called a DAW for short. People start with the GarageBand, Fruity Loops. I use something called PreSonus Studio One, and it's just like when people do video editing, you can lay different tracks. So just start with that and get a simple MIDI keyboard so you can play on the black and white keys there and get comfortable with some chords and things like that. And then just figure yourself out. Are you the kind of person that focuses on melodies? Do you have hooks? What's kind of the feel of the songs you write? Just start writing on something. And again, are you more the person that starts with just percussion? Again, if you're a guitar person, just pick up the guitar and then just see where it goes. And again, we're not even talking about like the business part or like all the technical stuff. Just start recording yourself or recording the ideas. If you have someone that can do vocals, someone that can sing, get a really simple condenser mic, some kind of mic under $100. and you can start recording ideas. There's a lot of people that I know online that don't sing, that don't really play an instrument, but they're good with writing lyrics. And that's how they make a living on strictly the lyrical writing portion. So just find out, we all have some skill, whether it's artistic or not, but just if you have that skill, that kind of gift that you were born with or you have an inclination to, it's really up to you if you want to dive into it or just let it be and then have regrets when you're 80, if you're going to have regrets. But when you're good at something, find that and then dive into it. Forget about whether you can monetize it, but if you're an artistic person or you want to tap into it with music, you just got to jump in the pool. I mean, for me, I think what I'm doing now in the last 3-4 years is where I took things to a more focused level than in my 30s, 20s, even though I've been doing music production for maybe 18 years. But there's something that switched for a conversation we can have at a different time and why, where my focus and my drive changed. And that's where I'm at now. But yeah, start with just a simple way to record your ideas. Cell phones have plenty of apps. There's no excuse to not release creative ideas.
Man, this has been a golden episode, man. You've dropped so many nuggets here for people. And I have to, just popped in my head, if you have a couple more minutes, I had one more thing that came up because I feel out of all the art forms, for some reason, music is the one where maybe people are the most self-conscious, if that makes sense, like showing it and presenting it to other people, because it's a very personal thing in a way. So what's been your experience, like seeing artists or yourself or people you've seen that get over that hump? Because maybe there is that, for a classic example, that person that loves to sing in the shower. They love it. Not that you have to go to an open mic or anything like that, but for those that's the thing holding them back, is the stage fright, is the showing their talent to other people. Do you have any words of wisdom for that realm?
Don't get too excited about when someone likes it. Don't get too down when someone just puts a comment. Because remember, a lot of people will just put a comment because you're not in front of them and it's just something they do because they have nothing else in their life. But one thing I learned specifically like with YouTube from people that do YouTube videos and educational videos, this kind of connects with your question, is that just do it and you see it like a diary. Do it for yourself. Like record the music for yourself, upload the YouTube video for yourself of whatever you're doing, and at least do it for yourself. And if somebody likes it, great. And if not, don't worry about it. But just see it as a personal diary that's in a visual or an audio format that you can go back to and share it with the ones that are in your circle, your family, your kids. So don't worry so much about comparison. We're going to keep going back to comparison, but do it for a while and see how you feel. And then just be honest with yourself if you enjoyed that first step. And if it's something that you really don't enjoy or if it's causing you more harm than not. But if you're a creative person, just don't have the regret to not release the ideas, because you don't want to get all of a sudden health changes in your life where you can't play the piano anymore. There's nothing that holds you back from releasing your creative juices if that's the kind of person you are. I think we always have excuses of why we want to push it back or delay on it, but have, good people in your life, good creative people, just you and another person in the room, and just work together on an idea and just have it for yourselves. It's just that first step, like you said, Sam. But yeah, we worry too much about oversharing. If our Instagram number drops, that's a good thing, because it says then we're filtering out the people that maybe don't want to be seeing your stuff and leaving space for those that do.
I love it, man. Such a great breakdown. I really appreciate it, Jerry. I really appreciate you taking the time. I look forward to continuing our conversations and building together. And I'll definitely let you know when I'm down your way in Tempe. Let me know whenever you're out in LA. Is there anything else you would like to say or share with us before we get out of here?
Yeah, I want to share that the reason that I think I reached out to you, Sam, because I think I reached out to you first, is because there's something about your style or your vibe that it seems like you can adapt to anybody in the conversation, and it's a very low stress, not too boxed kind of conversation with the people you talk to, and in acting and modeling, I think, or anything that you've done. So what you're doing on a consistent basis with your branding, and again, because you're not so much focused on yourself in the conversation, is that you're going to do well. It's going to just keep growing because you have that blend of business, and you're good with the business, good with people thing, and your conversations seem conversations like you would have on the front porch of a house. So my last thought is that that's what you have that makes it unique. That maybe it's just part of you, and it just happens to be that you're doing a show. So you just got to keep riding that train, Sam.
Man, I love it. Thank you so much for the kind words. And I echo many positive sentiments back to yourself, your professionalism. You're just learning more about you, just the way you think and your creativity and the projects you have put out. Because once everyone watching and listening looks you up, they'll be like, oh man, like this dude does music. Like that's what I love. And so, and I foresee future collaborations here from the both of us. So, I look forward to continuing this conversation. Hang around for just a second. And, but Jerry, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Real quick, Sam.
Yeah.
What do you call a cow on the floor?
I'm at a loss. I have no idea.
Ground beef.
Ah! How did I not think of that? It's so obvious, but okay, I'm going to use that. I'm going to have to give you credit, though. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Jerry.
See ya.
See ya. Thank you for tuning in. To learn more, go to produceyourpassion.com.